Hello. First of all, welcome to my new office. It could do with a little bit of redecoration, but I'll get there. So in today's video, I just want to discuss the difficulty of hunts in Phasmophobia. Are they a bit too easy? Are they in a good spot, or are they too difficult? So first of all, I created a poll. I polled you, the YouTube community, and so far I've had 8,400 votes as of this video, so thank you to everyone that has voted and commented. It's been extremely useful. So, I will put the results up there. So, to summarise, about 70% of the voters thought that the hunts were very easy or slightly easy. About 20% thought they were fine as it is, and about 10% thought that the hunts were too difficult. There was also a very common theme in the comments of people not just wanting more difficulty from the hunts, but wanting more difficult ghost types, very similar to the Revenant, who is currently the biggest threat. So, having some of the other ghost types buffed to be on par with the Revenant in terms of their threat. In my opinion, yes, they are too easy, and there isn't much risk involved. I'm going to go over why I think this is, and I'm going to cover some proposed solutions that could help mitigate this. Firstly, I would like to discuss hiding, particularly in closets and lockers, and why I feel it's a little bit too safe at the moment. So the AI has recently got some big buffs, which should help it during a hunt. They can now go to your last known location if they lose line of sight. For example, if you go into a locker or closet, they will probably come right up to the door. They can now hear you during hunts, so if you're not being quiet, that should help them keep track of you and know where you are. And finally, they can now open doors, locker doors, closet doors during hunts, which should help them create line of sight, which should allow them to kill you theoretically. However, despite these changes, I don't feel like it's been enough to help the ghosts catch you out. I do feel like the closets and lockers are pretty much guaranteed safe spots at the moment, from my personal experience. I have been playing around with these changes for a good couple of months, while these changes have been on the beta branch. I've probably survived hundreds and hundreds of hunts, and I have not died once in a closet or locker during this period. I really don't believe lockers and closets were intended to be such strong safe spots, because having little to no risk involved really does take the fun out of the hunts. In terms of proposed solutions, I believe that if the ghost can hear you in a closet or locker, they should be able to phase through and catch you out regardless. As it currently stands, even if they can hear you, if you're holding the door shut, they don't benefit from hearing you, because from my experience, they just can't come in, they can't catch you. If you as the player really had to focus on staying quiet during the hunt, that would add a whole new gameplay element and mechanic, it would add to the risk massively, and it would really contribute to the horror atmosphere of the game. Make a noise, and you risk getting caught out. Another proposed solution that I think would help them in terms of catching you out in closets and lockers, currently they can open doors, but they only open them a little bit. I do believe the ghosts should be able to open the doors fully. As it currently stands, if they open the door just a little bit, quite often it's not enough for them to acquire line of sight, so they don't really benefit from it. Having the ghosts being able to open the doors fully would allow them to acquire line of sight much more efficiently, which would add a lot more risk to hiding in closets and lockers. You as the player would need to be really engaged in keeping those doors shut and also staying quiet. In my opinion, if these two changes were added together, I really feel like closets and lockers would become much more engaging in terms of hiding in them, and there would be much more risk involved in general. Moving on from hiding, I would now like to discuss your only other options during a hunt, which are looping or outrunning the ghost. Except a Revenant, you can outrun all of the other 11 ghost types in the game. This is because when you sprint, you are faster than all of them. So once you nail down the strategy of looping on the smaller maps around furniture or objects, you will be able to do it successfully pretty much every single time. On the larger maps, you don't even need to concern yourself with looping. You have so many long corridors to work with on high school, prison, asylum. You can just run straight down them. And as long as it's not a Revenant, you know you will be completely safe. The ghost will never ever be able to catch you. This is a big cause for concern as there is little to no risk involved when outrunning or looping the ghost. My proposed solution would be to implement a mechanic where the ghost can get faster during a hunt. Either the ghost gets slightly faster the longer the hunt goes on, so eventually they will slightly outspeed you, perhaps in the second half of the hunt, or a mechanic where the longer the ghost has line of sight of you, the player, they do become slightly faster. Again, they will eventually slightly outspeed you. I feel like this would put a massive emphasis on the player having to focus on breaking line of sight as soon as possible. You wouldn't be able to abuse the ghost around loops or long corridors. You would want to focus on breaking line of sight in order to get yourself to a good hiding spot, and then it would be very tense whether you survive or not. You would have to stay quiet. You would have to hold those doors shut. I feel like this would really add to the tension and the horror atmosphere of the game. However, I do appreciate that not everyone wants more difficulty. So, to cater to both sides, perhaps these speed changes that I mentioned could be implemented as part of professional difficulty only, or an entirely new difficulty above professional. This would allow people to carry on playing as the game currently stands if they want an easier, more relaxed experience. But for the big group that is craving more difficulty, this would also give them the option to have that. Before I round this video up, I just want to go back to one frequently recurring theme in the comments from my poll. A lot of people love that the Revenant is more difficult, that it has its own unique behaviour during a hunt, that it is the one that is the most threat. It would be fantastic if some other ghost types had their own unique mechanics during a hunt, to make them more threatening, to force the player to adapt your strategy depending on what you're dealing with. I think a perfect candidate for this would be the Demon, because the Demon sounds very menacing, but in reality is very lackluster. The only trait of the Demon really is that it will hunt you slightly earlier than the other ghost types. Unfortunately, it does have nothing to help it catch you during a hunt. I do appreciate, however, that changes to ghost types to make them more unique, to change how they behave during hunts, is going to require probably a lot more dev work than some of the other proposed solutions that I mentioned. So this isn't something that I would expect or hope to see soon, but probably something that we may see in the very distant future. However, still a change that I would love to see eventually. I feel it would add a lot more personality to the ghost types and would add a lot to the gameplay elements of hunts, forcing the players to change their strategy depending on what they're dealing with. To summarise, I really do feel like the hunts are a little bit too easy at the moment. I do feel like the lack of difficulty, the lack of threat and fear removes a lot of the fun out of the hunts in Phasmophobia. I do feel like there could be some very small changes made that would definitely make it more interesting and more enjoyable again, and perhaps these changes could be done on professional only to cater to everyone, or perhaps a new difficulty entirely. What do you think of the current state of hunts in Phasmophobia? Do you think they're too easy? Do you think they're in a good spot? Do you think they're too difficult? What do you think of my proposed changes? Do you have any proposed changes of your own? Please do let me know down in the comments. I will be extremely interested to read them because I think this is quite a hot topic at the moment, which is subsequently turning a lot of people away from the game. So it is something that I would love to see addressed in order to make it more fun and enjoyable again. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you to everyone that voted. I do look forward to reading your comments. Thank you for watching. As always, take care of yourselves and I will catch you next time.